DraftKings defense analysis for Week 7. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. You're looking at cash game and GPP defenses. A much better week in terms of selecting here, and we're pretty much on all the same teams. Just kind of a matter of difference in terms of how we're going to use them.
Yeah, definitely something you have to look for. Definitely interested this week in some cash game options. I guess I'll just get into it here. The Vikings, obviously, coming off the bye week, but I mean, they're a tremendous option against the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles have been good this year, but they've also been bad this year, especially in the last 2 weeks. So I think we're kind of taking that sample size, saying, okay, well, the Vikings have been the best defense in the league. Carson Wentz is a rookie. The cracks are starting to show. Teams are starting to get a little game plan together for him each week. There isn't anyone that's really stood out on the Eagles offense, including Jordan Matthews, who's suffering through an injury right now. So, yeah, it's a struggle for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think Minnesota comes in. Basically, I think they're going to be a top cash game offense for the rest of the way here. You're looking at New England in terms of a value in terms of cash, $2,900, so an $800 difference from Minnesota. Big Ben already ruled out. We're probably going to see Landry Jones or Zach Mettenberger, I think, is their other option. So I think this one kind of sets up itself.
Yeah, I don't really need to get too far into this one. 2,900 for the Patriots, against the Steelers team without Big Ben. We saw it last year. Antonio Brown's a tremendous talent. Le'Veon Bell's a tremendous talent, but without Ben Roethlisberger and without a decent, backup, they really don't have anything. So it's kind of unfortunate that they can't keep the wheels turning here, but I highly doubt Landry Jones is going to get through a game, especially with Bill Belichick game planning.
I do too. I mean, he's the best coach in terms of taking away your weapons, and obviously Bell's there, Brown's there, but with Landry Jones under center or whoever it's going to be, those guys don't offer as much as they do with Big Ben there.
And not only that, but bad quarterback seems to be Bill Belichick's forte. You just look at the Tim Tebow years where the Broncos were always winning, and then they just faced the Patriots, and the Patriots would just win 40-10. And I mean, we just see that all the time with Patriots defenses. They just crush bad quarterbacks. So I think this is certainly viable.
Yeah, I do too. And looking at GPP defenses, Baltimore here, 2,800. They just continue to be kind of reasonably priced on DraftKings all the time. And the one thing I like about them is, even if they give up some points, they're always seem to be balancing it out with turnovers and sacks.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I think, getting into the Ravens here a little bit, it's gonna be an ugly year for the Jets and the Jets fans. I'm sorry to say. Ryan Fitzpatrick, not the answer there. Geno Smith is definitely not the answer there. Christian Hackenberg and Bryce Petty. Christian Hackenberg wasn't even good in college. Bryce Petty was good in college, but that has nothing to do for this conversation because neither of them are going to play this year. There's going to be a lot of turnovers coming from the Jets side of the ball for the rest of the time that these quarterbacks are there. So I think you look at this Ravens team, might have lost Terrell Suggs for the season, which is unfortunate. They haven't been getting much pressure anyway. I think their secondary will do fine. Obviously, you have to worry about Brandon Marshall with whoever's at quarterback, but generally speaking, the run game looks bad. I don't see how they're going to score many points, and I think, a pick six is very possible.
It certainly is with Fitzpatrick under center. Buffalo, 3,400, a little bit of a pay up here on the road at Miami. Miami last week, I doubt we see an offensive game kind of like that again, where it's more just dominated on the ground. That seems to be kind of fluky.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see about Jay Ajayi. The Bills, 3,400. Obviously a little letdown the last time out, but I think at 3,400 against this Dolphins offense, you really only have to worry about Jarvis Landry. Jay Ajayi, not a bad player. Probably would have been drafted higher than the 4th round if he didn't have those knee issues. He's not a 200 yard per game type of guy, nor is he a 100 yards per game type of guy. So with him as the feature back, that's good that the Dolphins have figured out who their guy is going forward. But against this Bills defense, with hopefully Marcel Darius coming back at some point, I mean, they're rolling right now. So I think they're a great play.
Yeah, they're playing really well. Cincinnati, a defense that really hasn't been playing all that great this year, but they've had a couple of tough games in terms of good offenses. But here, 3,600, an expensive one, but there is certainly some upside.
Yeah, expensive. I just look at Cody Kessler and the Browns. Cody Kessler actually been playing pretty well of late, over 300 yards last game and 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Not bad at all. Some of it was in junk time, so those are a little inflated. But overall with the Browns, I think we're firing away with defenses against them for the rest of the year. I don't know. It seems like Isaiah Crowell's early season, prominent play is kind of fading back, to what he was as a career player. So I think, there's not really much of a threat there other than Terrell Pryor at this stage.
Do you feel like these GPP plays are cash game playable as well? Because that was kind of my general assumption of this week was like, okay, I like these guys in GPPs, but I think Minnesota obviously takes the cake. But these guys are also, seem to be viable for me as well.
I've been playing it really safe with my lineups this year. I just want to go with the Vikings and not even worry about it. I don't even care about that. Or the Patriots. I think those are going to be my 2, and I just forget about the rest, honestly.
Well, geez.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that answers that. Well, why even go on?
Yeah.
Just, plug those teams in and log out, right?
I think that's the plan for me. Yeah.
That's going to wrap things up with the DraftKings defense analysis for week 7. Be sure to head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com, check out our great tools and content.